Number five may be a little bit controversial. So I have the Tory Lanez album up on there. All right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hard.
Don't at me on that.
Right. Edit that out.
At him.
You always listening to something to somewhere you shouldn't be. We're gonna start, and I'm gonna pass it over to my man John and talk about these top 5 albums of 2020.
So, for me, one of my escapes for 2020 was listening to a lot of music, and I always date music as like where it affected me in my life. So like when I listen back to like Kanye West, 808s and Heartbreak back in like 2008, I always remember that I was traveling the world, and I bought that album in like Walmart in Hawaii, and like I would listen to it with my roommate Jimmy. So I always like when I listen to music, I always think of it as like where was I in that time frame in my life, as like a chapter in my book. So, like Jay-Z when he came out with the song with Justin, and we went to me and Brian went to the concert, and it was one of my biggest songs for my wedding. So I like to listen to music, and I know a lot of you guys on here do too. So with that being said, the top 5 albums that these are just my favorite. I wouldn't say they're the best, or because music is too hard. Everybody has a different taste, so I can't say that this was the best, but this was my favorite. So at 5, I have Nas, King's Disease. It's a bounce back album for Nas, I think. Some of my favorite songs on there is Blue Benz, Full Circle, and 27 Summers. Full Circle is like classic Nas 98, like spitting hardcore. So it's great to hear him again. He's I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite rappers, but definitely put it together for this album. So if you haven't heard King's Disease, definitely go hear that. At number 4, I have Jay Electronica's A Written Testimony. This album right here came out the same day that the world pretty much ended. So it's a unique album to me because I haven't had an album like this where the world felt like it was ending since Jay-Z's Blueprint on 9/11. When he dropped that, it was the same thing. I still went to Sam Goody and bought it on the same day. I'm sorry.
Sam Goody, wow. You're dating yourself now, kid.
Yeah, you sound like an old head, man.
Let's go, baby.
People under the age of 30 don't even know what I'm talking about. Definitely, A Written Testimony was like, I first heard it when we went to Cancun, and every time I hear this album now, it just sticks to me about like, this was the time that I went out with my boys for the last time, and like it felt like the world was ending. So some of my favorite tracks on this album was Never Ending Story, Fruits of the Spirit, and Universal Soldier. Fire album. He put it together. He has a lot of Jay-Z on there too. Jay-Z pretty much stole his album, so shout out to that. At number 3, I have a guy that I didn't even listen to until I saw this list on what was it, the Grammys? I saw the Grammys put out the best rap albums. So I went and listened to this guy named Freddie Gibbs, and never heard anything of him before, but he definitely had the top rap album to me, and his album's called Alfredo. The top songs on that is 1985, Frank Lucas, and Baby Shit. Love the album. I can't believe how good it was. And like, I haven't been surprised with an album that good since I listened to Kendrick Lamar's first album. Freddie Gibbs will destroy your favorite rapper and my favorite rapper this year, because that's how good that album is. And I don't even know, I'm not being even biased, but this was the best rap album I heard this year. Hands down. Anybody who want to at me or get at me, I will destroy you with this album.
It's going to happen.
So then why you only got it at number 3 then?
Because my other albums aren't rap albums.
Okay.
So at number 2, I have my man Bad Bunny. His album's called Yo Hago Lo Que Me Da La Gana.
Okay.
Translate, please.
Yes.
That's so it's I do whatever I want to do. So Bad Bunny, you know, again, another one that like I just kind of like hopped on the scene with this reggaeton now, with him and everything, and what he's been able to do with the Latino community and everything. His music is thumping right now. He's the only one that's had like #1 albums for the Latino community in a long time. He has a lot of tracks on this album that were amazing. That just, I wish the clubs were open, because these joints would just be, you know. Actually, we heard a couple of them when we were on the beach in Cancun, which were thumping. So he definitely put it together, and I'm proud of that album. I listened a lot of that album during the pandemic. And then my #1 album, and I heard this a gazillion times, it's my son's favorite album. It's my favorite album. This album is called The Weeknd After Hours. This is by far my favorite and best album of the year. There's not even a skip on this, so I don't even know how to begin with this album. Snow Child, fire. The most heard song I listened to this whole year. Escape from LA.
Yeah.
Too much. It's just too fire. Save Your Tears. Scared to Live Again. Blinding Lights. I mean, Blinding Lights wants me to pull my hair out. The amount of times Aiden has to hear it in one day. I think we're down to 15 listens for Blinding Lights a day now. So we minimized it. But Blinding Lights is probably the biggest song of the year anyway. And I will always remember this album as the album of the pandemic. So when I look back at the years, I will think of this album as the one that I bumped the most. I mean, Snow Child is probably my favorite song of the year. So that's all I got to say. Those are my favorite albums of the year.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to comment on those things?
Yeah, I happen to like this topic and compiled a similar top 5. But I will say, like John said, you know, this is my top 5. This is what I was listening to a lot this year. I also want to give John, you know, a shout out, and you know, he's a fellow. For all those that don't know, a cologne head like myself. We watch YouTube videos on top 10 colognes. I think you did a wonderful job, my guy. So as they do in those ones, I'm gonna give a few honorable mentions, just because I couldn't leave these albums out at the top 5. So honorable mentions, you know, Roddy Ricch had a crazy year. So I'm gonna include him in my honorable mention. I think he had too many hits. The album was very well done. My first time hearing him, being exposed to that, so he's on there. No Pressure by Logic. I know he retired this year, but you know, I enjoy his music thoroughly, and
love that album.
Had to put him on there. And the last honorable mention, I know I have to know that, with Ty Dolla $ign. I thought his album was very unappreciated, and I think it's because he's on so many features that he kind of gets like diluted. But that dude has hits on that album, really good. So I suggest people that like Ty Dolla $ign listen to that. So not only did I do a little bit of an honorable mention, I hate to do it, but I had to do a couple ABs for these. So don't hate me too much, people. So number 5A was another one that John mentioned, was King's Disease by Nas. It was like a mix between like that classic Nas, 90s Nas, the great lyrics you're always going to get. He has some really great features like Anderson .Paak, Lil Durk, Big Sean, and it was really like informative. It felt like he was, you know, doing his usual like, education on the track. Number 5B was John's #1, After Hours. I loved that album by The Weeknd. You know what you're getting from him. He's gonna make you miss your ex. He's going to have crazy features. And Snow Child was my favorite song off of that too, John. So that's a good one.
But can I say something real quick? With the After Hours, for me, it felt like this Weeknd album. It was he finally put it together. As far as he finally put together a hit mixed with the trilogy album. I always wanted him to kind of like fuse those two sounds together. You know what I mean? for the Weeknd people. So like, you know, he would make I Can't Feel My Face, all the very commercial songs. But then I like the Weeknd as like he's the trilogy Weeknd, where it's more like underground and more, you know, disrespectful kind of music. And he finally put the disrespectful music in hits. So like it's just a perfect blend.
Agreed. Number 4, you know, I can't leave my boy Drake out of the list. Some people forgot about Dark Lane demo tapes, which was fire with the 2C slide on their top 20 song of the year. It's typical Drake. He has, you know, features from Chris Brown, where he has his soft, you know, melodic R&B stuff. Then he has, you know, his hard stuff with Future. He had Playboy Cardi on the album. It was really good. My favorite song off that, From Florida with Love. Another album. Oh, sorry, that was 4B. 4A. I had Circles from Mac. I couldn't choose, guys. It was too hard. Circles from Mac Miller. You know, I love Mac. Rest in peace to that wonderful genius. It was technically people that like Mac would say it's not a rap album. It was more of an R&B album because, you know, he's kind of melodic on that as well. But I really enjoyed it. A good song on that is Hand Me Downs. All right. Number 3, A Written Testimony. John mentioned that one. We were on our way to Cancun. That was my first time hearing it. That was like the soundtrack to Cancun for me. John was bumping that whenever we had a chance to pregame, so I really enjoyed that. You know, like you said, Hov kind of took over the album, so it was really fire. Number 2, Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And I have followed Freddie Gibbs before, but this was like, I don't know if it was just a mix of, you know, the beats from Alchemist or whatever, but it was absolutely fire. My favorite song on that was Frank Lucas.
I gotta hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. Number 1, I split between my 2 favorite artists of the year, which is Benny the Butcher and Conway. From King to a God from Conway, and then Bird McCrew from Benny. I don't have to even talk about these guys. I've seen LeBron on his IG talking about it. It's just that grimy, I'm gonna shoot you, I sell drugs, and even if you don't know that background, it makes you feel like you do.
Yes, sir.
Amazing music. Amazing music.
Benny the Butcher is definitely an honorable mention for me too. That was a great album. Also, I forgot to say, Lil Uzi also had a good album.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I did enjoy that album.
That drum was fire.
It didn't make my top.
Him and Playboy and all those guys, I feel like they're on that demonic stuff. I can't mess with them. They be scaring me.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah.
5 albums. You got?
Yeah. Let me go. So first of all, for me, like, I don't really listen to like new music like that. I'm more into, like, you know, the old school, like the Hov and whatnot. Maybe like the early 2000s. That's where I mostly listen to. The Nas, I know you guys have that on there. I only listened to it once, so I didn't really get to hear it, but I listened to it. That's not on my list. I like the, what was it, N, right?
Yeah.
I think that one was better. But I just, you know, have to say, like, I didn't play it. I think I only played it once or whatnot. So that didn't get on my top 5. I have some, but it's just that I'm not saying that they are the top 5, but these are just the ones that I've listened to or whatnot. So number 5 may be a little bit controversial. So I have the Tory Lanez album up on there. All right. Yeah. Don't at me on that. Right.
Edit that out.
At him.
You always listening to something to someone you shouldn't be.
Man, that's how you gotta do it, man. If someone's gonna tell me, if someone says to walk left, I'm gonna be like, why? Right? You know, maybe I want to walk right sometimes. You know.
Tell us to be there. You've been watching it live.
But I just wanted to know, like, you know, because you see all the beef and all that stuff that's going on with Megan Thee Stallion. So I wanted to hear a different perspective right there, and I got to hear that on there. I only listened to it a couple of times though, so that's why it's only at number 5. But yeah, I wanted to hear from his point of view. So that's number 5. Number 4, I'm going with, this is going to be a surprise. I'm going with Busta Rhymes. I liked his new album.
Okay.
I heard
Like
Okay.
the song with Kendrick Lamar on there, the
Yeah,
Jackson
that's
5,
fine.
but also he had a few other songs on there that I really liked. One was him, I guess, talking about his baby mama drama or whatnot, and I thought in the way he did that, I thought it was awesome. And the feature on there, I don't know if that was his baby mama on there or it's just another rapper or whatnot, but she goes into like her point of view and stuff and why she was holding the baby from him, stuff like that, and how, you know, she made a mistake, she was wrong looking at that. I thought that was pretty cool too. And then there was a few other fiery joints on there as well. Number 3, and I'm kind of disappointed in you, John, that you didn't even put this on your list, that Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 3. Woo, I'm listening to that right now. See, at first, like I listened to it, but I wasn't really like, I was able to get through the whole tracks, but I wasn't like being like, oh man, this is my joint right here, like it was on the first Man on the Moon right there. Like I could pick 2-3 songs. But after I listened to it about 2 or 3 other times or whatnot, I was really starting to feel this. Right now, what I'm listening to is Show Out, Pop Smoke on there. Oh man, that's
That was
definitely
another good
recommend it. Huh?
Pop Smoke. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
I'm surprised none of y'all said that. The Pop Smoke album.
It would have been an honorable mention too.
Yeah, maybe one of
Cudi's
y'all.
an honorable mention. Thank you.
Sorry guys, I should have prepped y'all for the 1A, 1B.
Nah, sorry.
Nah, we good. We good with that, man.
You know how you get down, B.
Yeah.
You know how I do. I can't pick, baby. I like them all.
My number 2 is Run the Jewels 4. This was a great album by Killer Mike and LP. Especially this was going through the height of everything that was going on, like with the George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter. This came out at the right time, talking about social activism, police brutality, also just how both sides of the aisles, right, left, middle, and media play a game in what's going on with the corruption of, you know, our U.S. government. I'll just leave it at that. And then number 1 is, of course, it has to be The Weeknd. I think that this was the album. I think that if you're going to mention a pandemic like album music, I'm going to have to go with this one. I would always remember with the tracks on here. I think my favorite was Escape to LA, where I was like during the beginning, during the height of everything. And I don't really have to explain it any further because, you know, Be Sure and John already tackled it. But this, I think, by far was the number 1 album. And this one, I may say that this is the number 1 album of the year.
Or don't at me or James later.
Good list,
The
good
Weeknd
list.
will destroy your favorite rapper and your favorite singer.
And he'll steal your girl.
Yeah.
Bill, you got anything to comment about that?
I really don't have a top 5, but I said, you know, obviously Little Uzi Vert, great album. Benny the Butcher was definitely a grimy, like that's my type of music. It was good.
That was great.
I'm gonna throw another one in there right now. One of my favorite artists right now gotta be Little Baby right now. His album is like
Yeah,
album
the
is fire,
baby.
too.
Wait,
got bars,
that shit
man.
was tough. No one said that. Yeah.
spit, man.
Yeah.
Like his album was really
Wait,
tough.
is it The Baby or Little Baby? Which one?
Nah, Little Baby.
Both of them had crazy albums this year too.
But
Wait, which one
Little
is Little
Baby-
Baby the light skinned one and The Baby's the dark
Yeah.
one?
yeah, Little Baby,
Oh,
the
yeah,
light skin
I
with
like-
the
I like
dreads.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
The Baby's album.
Put together a very good album.
That album was called My Turn, right? That one, the one.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was a very solid album.
He had a crazy
It's
album,
solid
baby.
Picking 5 is hard for me.
It
Yeah.
is. Why do you think I did 1A and 1B too?
And I'm gonna go off the radar too for an album that I heard that is obviously off the radar, and I listened to this about 4 or 5 times because I don't want to be. So you know I gotta put it together. But yo, shout out to my man Bronx Child, man. Action. The fire. Y'all go into your Apple store and download that Bronx Chat. Like it was very well put together. No,
Bronx
Okay.
Cheesy.
I listen
Snoop.
to it like to be
Local fire.
listen to it as a friend. That I listen to it as like, let me just really lock in. It was a solid mixtape. I'm just putting it out there. My man Bronx Chat. It was very solid, man. So congrats to him for dressing.
Okay. Yeah, I need to hear
Bronx
that.
Cheesy.
Shout out to Bronx
word,
Child.
I
What's
hear
good,
that.
Snoop?
Hopefully, it inspires
Yeah.
people to go out there and listen to things that maybe you wouldn't usually. Because, like John was saying, he hadn't heard Freddie before this year, but now he knows he's one of the best rappers out there. That's kind of where I was hoping.
Yeah, I didn't make a list either, fellas, but I definitely want to hear some of these things you guys said. A lot of these albums, I just hear one time, and then I don't really like go through it as much as I probably should. And I definitely want to hear that Freddie Gibbs after you guys, talk.
I think Kev, like for me, it was like when I heard the Freddie Gibbs album, it didn't take me long. Like I was like,
Yeah.
damn, what
He
the
didn't have
hell is
any. There's no pauses in his. Like it's the same thing with Conway and Benny, where he's just 100% on every song. He gives it everything, every song.
Like if you like rap, like early 2000 rap,
Yeah.
like Jimmy's talking about, like that you get in that.
Phils, you'll really like this.
Wait, these people exist still?
Yeah.
Like these type of
Yeah.
rappers?
I'm actually downloading that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm
Phils,
gonna
you're
do
gonna
that
like
right
it.
after the
He
podcast.
has crazy features on that one too, right, John?
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy is I didn't talk to you about your list, so for you to have it
We
have
didn't.
it at
We
2,
didn't.
and I had it at 3. And that was my favorite rap
Oh,
album.
I didn't say my favorite song off of that album in specific. It was the one with Rick Ross, the Frank Lucas joint. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, that is fire.
Jose.